So in today's class, we are going to start with dynamics. And in dynamics, in this course, we are going to study two branches. One is kinetics and another is kinematics. So are you aware of the difference between kinetics and kinematics, Sriram?
Uh, so not exactly. Kinetics is basically study of motion of a body, which includes uh, points such as velocity, acceleration, position, etc.
You are telling me exactly the reverse way. So let us define
Okay, okay.
what do we mean by kinetics and what do we mean by kinematics. So first of all, we will define what is kinematics. So kinematics is a branch of dynamics which deals with study of motion, considering its parameters, geometrical parameters like position, velocity, and displacement, but completely disregarding the cause of the motion. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us try to understand what do we mean by cause of the motion. So once again, let me clarify. Okay, except Sriram, everyone else please, mute your microphones. Yeah. Now, so kinematics is a branch which deals with the geometry of the motion. So what do we mean by geometry of the motion, Sriram?
Sir,
So
position.
yes, it deals with position. So at a given instant of time, where is the particle? That question will be answered if you know the position. Then velocity and acceleration. These are like geometrical parameters of a motion. Those are studied in kinematics, but disregarding the cause of motion. Disregard cause of motion. So can you tell me what is the cause of motion?
External agent.
That means force, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So from where did you come up with that idea? What is the basic equation behind that?
Um,
Newton's second law. So tell me
yes,
what
sir.
is Newton's second law? Summation of all the forces in a particular direction, let us say x direction, is equal to mass, happy,
Yes, sir.
into acceleration in that x direction, provided that the mass is not a function of time. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, so let us have a look at cause of the, which is the term here that indicates the motion. Tell me.
Uh, Velocity.
Yes, velocity and therefore acceleration.
Yes, sir.
Acceleration is the term in this formula which indicates that, which hints at the motion. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I change the mass of a body, does it acceleration also change?
No.
No, for given summation fx, if I change the mass of body, won't ax change?
Uh,
Suppose I
no,
give
sir.
you that summation fx is 1000. Are you with me? This is
Yes,
given.
sir.
Uh, and uh, the mass was 10 kg and the mass is changed to 20 kg. Will acceleration remain same or will it change?
It will change.
It will change. So one of the cause that alters the parameters of motion like acceleration, velocity and position is mass. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore mass is an intrinsic property or inherent property of a body, but which plays the role in altering acceleration to velocity. It is a cause of motion. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So in that way, it is a cause of motion. And what about summation? If I keep the mass constant and if I change summation fx, let us say I keep the mass constant as 10, and if I change the summation fx from 1000 to 2000 on a body, will its acceleration change?
Yes.
So the another cause of motion or another cause that affects the parameters of the motion is summation fx. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So to be very precise, unbalanced force and mass are the causes of motion. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when I say you are going to disregard the cause of motion, that means you are not going to look at the effect of summation fx, that is unbalanced force, but if it is uniformly accelerated motion, summation fx can be looked at only as a force. So you are not going to look at forces and you are not going to look at masses. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now let us finalize the definition of kinematics. Kinematics is a branch of dynamics that deals with the study of motion parameters such as position, velocity, acceleration, disregarding the cause of motion, that is force and masses. Happy?
Yes, sir.
ओके तो हिंट क्या है, कैसे ध्यान में रखना है ये डेफिनेशन? जिसके स्पेलिंग में एम है उसमें हम मास कंसीडर नहीं करते. आर यू विद मी?
Yes, sir.
So kinematics is a branch where we do not consider the cause of motion, that is force and masses. While kinetics now, how do we define kinetics? Tell me.
Hmm. Where we take external agents such as force in the situation.
Consideration. So the
Yes.
problems which demand taking into consideration the mass and forces which are causes of the motion or which are causes for altering the motion parameter, then that branch of dynamics is called as kinetics. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So naturally we are going to start first with kinematics and then we will mature enough to handle the problems in kinetics. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Chalo. Now I am going to describe a problem statement to you. You are going to classify it into kinetics or kinematics. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, on a traffic signal, no, not on traffic signal. Let us say on a highway, traffic police catches a man who was speeding, and the speed was measured using speed gun. In this description of the problem, whether it is a problem of kinetics or kinematics.
Kinematics.
Yes, because you are only talking about the motion parameters such as velocity. You are not talking about the amount of fuel burned per unit time to produce a particular thrust so that the vehicle can speed. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, this is a problem in kinematics. Chalo. Earth revolves around a sun in 365 days. It completes one revolution around the sun in 365 days. Kinetics or kinematics?
Kinetics.
No. Where did I say
Yes, yes.
what
Just
causes the
it's
motion of
just
sun?
about time it takes. Yeah. So
Yes.
kinematics.
So it is kinematics. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us have the next example. Mass of Earth is m1. Mass of the object in space is m2. The gravitational force between them is m1 m2 upon r square. Under that gravitational force, they approach each other with the velocity blah blah blah. What is the type of problem?
Kinetics.
Kinetics, because now we are talking about the masses, we are talking about the gravitational force, so it is definitely a problem in kinetics. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now with this background of kinetics and kinematics, let us begin with kinematics of particles. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what do I mean by a particle? Tell me.
A, a point mass.
Bolo.
Body taken into consideration which has
No, I have
which is only a point.
no, I have stuck. What is the spelling of particle? It is CAL or CLE? CLE was correct.
CLE.
Yes. So particle. Tell me.
A, a point body which has a dimension only in a point.
Okay. So in statics also we had similar assumption. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And what was means when did we consider a body as a particle in statics? Yeah. Tell me.
In FBD.
In yes, in
FBD.
FBD. But when did we when could we consider a body as a particle? When the shape and size of the body did not matter, as well as we were never asked to compute the moment. So that means the body is acted upon by the force system, which is concurrent in nature. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So all the forces, they were passing through a single point, and we said that we can assume the body to be situated at that point. In that case, we could idealize a body as a particle in statics. Do you agree? Agree with
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes, sir.
Now, when do we idealize a body as a particle? That is, when do we disregard its shape and size in dynamics? Answer is ought to be different. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So we are going to answer this in a while, means maybe in 2-3 lectures down the line. But keep your focus. This is the question that will arise. When do we treat the body as particle? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
In dynamics. Now let us go ahead with definitions of fundamental quantities involved in kinematics. These are the geometries of motion, that is position, velocity, and acceleration. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now, tell me, in your opinion, how do we define position of a particle?
Um, if we take a coordinate system, it's x and y coordinate.
Very good. So therefore, y only xy. We can also consider z coordinate.
Yes,
Yes.
in z also.
So x, y, and z. What is x? What is y? And what is z? Tell me.
Axis.
Yes, but is it necessary that x should be horizontal, z should be horizontal, and y
No.
should be vertical? No. So at a given point in a space, you can. So first thing that you have to do is you have to choose a point in a space as a reference. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And that point I'm going to call it as origin, and I'm going to denote it by notation O. That can be any point in this space. You can choose any point, but as long as you're analyzing a particular motion, keep that origin without shift till the analysis is complete. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is the first requirement. First, I need to choose a point in a space which can be treated as origin. What else do I need for a position? I need to choose three axes which are mutually perpendicular. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And why do we take mutually perpendicular axes? Because a distance traveled along x doesn't have any component along a distance traveled along y if x and y are orthogonal. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, we choose three axes such that if I travel distances along them, they will not have interlinked components. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is the next thing. So what I have chosen a point in a space. I have also chosen three orthogonal axes passing through the same point under consideration. And I have shown these arrows. So what do these arrows mean? Tell me.
Mm,
Positive
direction.
directions of those orthogonal axes.
Yes.
Are you with
Yes.
me? So
Yes, sir.
this sketch is, it reveals lot many things. First, you have chosen an arbitrary point in a space as origin. Then you have chosen three mutually orthogonal axes passing through that point. And then you have chosen positive directions of those three mutually orthogonal axes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What else you need to do? Tell me.
Um, its distance from origin.
Now, let me say this thing. Let us say uh, observer has observed the motion of the particle. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And it has moved along this path. Happy?
Yes, sir.
It has moved along this path from point number 1 to point number 2. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, though I have shown this path on this graph, tell me, how many positions can particle occupy at a given instant of time?
One.
Only one. So that means when particle is at 1, it is not at 2. When particle is at 1, it is nowhere it is not anywhere else. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So even though I have drawn this path, which is visible at once, but all the positions along this path have been occupied at different times by the same particle. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, there is one more implicit parameter, and that is time. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I need to keep a track of time. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So देखो define क्या कर रहे हैं? Position. पर हमें पहले define क्या करना पड़ा? You need to choose an arbitrary point in a space and call it as origin. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Then you had to pass three mutually orthogonal axes from that point. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And call them as reference axes. Then decide their positive directions and also keep observing a particle and its position, or and the point where it is point which it occupies during a given instant of time. So you will have to also keep a track of time. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now somebody may argue, why did we choose three orthogonal axes? We could have chosen, let us say, a circle and height. Are you with me? So there are
Yes, sir.
various are systems in which we mark the position of particle. What are the various systems? One is Cartesian coordinate system. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Which I have drawn. So what is Cartesian coordinate system? You are going to choose a point from a space. You are going to define three mutually orthogonal axes passing through it, their positive directions, and point in a space will be uniquely defined by three measurements. It's x coordinate, y coordinate, and z coordinate. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So three independent measurements are required to locate a point in a space with Cartesian coordinate system. What about polar coordinate system? So polar coordinate system का मतलब क्या होता है? बोलो.
Radius and angle.
Radius and angle, but angle made by which? Angle made with what?
Radius vector.
No, angle made by radius vector with reference to xy plane, yz plane.
Y.
Then
Yes.
zx plane is automatically defined once you define the value of r. So there also you need to take three measurements: r, theta, and phi. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
We will come to that coordinate system little later. I don't want to confuse you by drawing it here. And then third one is cylindrical coordinate system. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So these are the various coordinate systems in which you are. So in cylindrical coordinate system, you are going to measure radius, then theta, and then height. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So whichever coordinate system you choose to locate a point in a space, you will require to have three space measurements. Do you agree with me? Three independent space measurements.
Yes, sir.
So we have understood a lot of things here. Now, at a given instant of time t equal to t star, let us say time t equal to t star, a particle was occupying this position in this space. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So in this coordinate system, how do I denote its position? By a position vector r bar. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So this position vector r bar depicts the position of a point at time t equal to t star. Happy?
Yes, sir.
As the time changes, this position vector is going to change. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I will show it r bar. It is a function of time. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Function of time. So we are very clear now. What do we mean by position? Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now we will go ahead and we will simplify this for a rectilinear motion, because the first thing that we are going to study is rectilinear motion. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And what is rectilinear motion? If a particle exhibits motion along a line, then we are going to call it as rectilinear motion. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Throughout the course of observation, if the particle has moved only along a single line, then we are going to call either in forward direction or in reverse direction. We are going to call it as rectilinear motion. Happy?
Yes, sir.
It is not necessary that the particle will move along x, or it will move along y, or it will move along z. No, it can move along this line. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Still, it is a rectilinear motion. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in rectilinear motion, what we generally do is we orient our x-axis along the direction of motion of a particle. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So orient x-axis along the direction of motion of a particle, wherever it is, whichever it is. And then we define a point on this line, which we treat as origin. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And we define positive x direction. This is positive x direction. Then if we do that in rectilinear motion, the vectorial notation of position is not required. We can simply say the position can be given by plus or minus some magnitude. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
For example, let us say the particle is exhibiting rectilinear motion along this line. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And I have chosen this point as origin. Happy? Now, at a given instant of time t equal to 5 seconds, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
At t equal to 5 seconds, let us say the particle occupies this position, which is at 100 meters. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And let us say this is my positive x direction. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So what can I write about the position of a particle at t equal to 5 seconds? Tell me.
Uh,
So t now position I will now denote by a single coordinate x at t equal to 5 seconds. Though it is a vector quantity, I need to simply specify it as 100 plus 100. Are you with me?
yes, sir.
So you have to understand that it is 100 I cap. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, say at t equal to 10 seconds, the same particle occupies this position, which is at distance 100 meter here. Then with reference to this origin, oh, what is its position at t equal to 10 seconds? Tell me.
Minus 100 meter.
Minus 100. Happy? So only
Yes,
the
sir.
positive or negative sign would take care of uh, the direction in case of a rectilinear motion. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So we did not worry about vectorial notations. Mere positive and negative sign will take care of the direction of, will tell you exactly what is the position of a particle along that line. So if you have understood this part, so we have answered the second question. We have answered the sign convention for rectilinear motion. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now I am going to talk something interesting, and that is called as change in position. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Just give me a minute. Yes. Now, imagine the particle at time t equal to 5 seconds. T equal to 5 seconds. Before we do that, let me add one more point. In this example, let us say I shift the origin from here to here. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then these numbers and their sign is going to change. So therefore, sign is sensitive to the origin that you choose, the positive direction of x-axis that you choose. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's the point that you must note. Now at t equal to 5 seconds, let us say the particle has occupied this position, which corresponds to x equal to 100 meter. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Position x is equal to 100 meter. So origin must be somewhere here, and this point must be 100. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Then during the next 5 seconds, the particle moves in this fashion. At t equal to 5, it was here. It moves here at t equal to 8 seconds. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this distance is, let us say, 200 meter. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And it starts coming back, and it reaches this position such that this distance is 50. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And this is t equal to 10 seconds. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now tell me, what is the position of a particle at t equal to 5 seconds? So what is x5? Tell me.
Plus 100 meter.
Plus 100 meter. Great. What is the position at x is equal to 8 seconds?
Plus 300 meter.
Plus 300 meter. Very good. Meter, meter. And what is the position at x equal to 10 meter?
Plus 50 meter.
Plus 50 meter. Now I am going to perform certain calculations, and then you are going to tell me the conclusion. Ab zara dekho, if I ask you what is the change in position from x from t equal to 8 second, from t equal to 5 second to t equal to 8 second. What is the change in position? Tell me.
Plus 200 meter.
So x8 minus x5. This is the change in position from t equal to 5 seconds to t equal to 8 seconds. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And how much is that? Tell me.
Plus 200 meter.
Plus 200 meters. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And how much is the distance traveled by the particle? Distance traveled. Distance traveled by particle from t equal to 5 seconds to t equal to 8 seconds. Tell me. Bolo. It is
200
also
meter.
200. It traveled the distance of 200 meters. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is the first part of the calculation. Now, I'm going to copy this, but I'm only going to change the times. What is the change in position from time t equal to 5 seconds to time t equal to 10 seconds? What should I say?
Minus
What should I say?
minus 50 meter.
So I will have to write it as x10 minus x5. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
But what is x10? x10 is 50 and x5 is 100. So it is minus 50. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me write it down. Minus 50 meter. And what is the distance traveled by the particle from t equal to 5 seconds to t equal to 10 seconds?
250.
Yes, that distance is 250. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Because the particle moved 200 mm ahead and it came back by distance. No, it's not
No,
250.
it will be 450.
It will be 450. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
450. Chalo. 450. Happy?
Yes, sir.
अब एक और कैलकुलेशन करूंगा. If I ask you to calculate what is modulus of x8 minus x5. So modulus of change in position from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Plus modulus of change in position from x is equal to 8 second to x is equal to 10 second. 10 to 8. 8 to 10. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the first quantity? Tell me what is the change in position? What is x8 minus x5? Tell me.
200 meter.
200. And its modulus is 200. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the change in position from 8 second to 10 second?
250 meter.
250, but that is minus 250. Do you agree with
Yes,
me?
sir.
50 minus
Yes, sir.
3. Yeah. So minus 250, but it's modulus. So plus 250. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And this turns out to be 450 meter. Now, looking at all these calculations, can you bring the bigger picture? आप बता सकते हो क्या मैं कहना चाहता हूँ?
Distance traveled by particle from 5 to 10 seconds is equal to distance traveled from 5 t is equal to 5 to t is equal to
This
8
is
and
just
t is equal
no. This is just a description of what I have written. No. Now forget about these numbers 10, 5. No. What is the bigger conclusion that I want to make? Tell me. So चलो अब सोचते हैं कि what do we mean? What is the bigger conclusion that I want? The first conclusion: change in position from time 5 seconds to time 8 seconds is positive. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
That means from time t equal to 5 seconds to time t equal to 10 seconds, t equal to 8 seconds, the particle has moved in positive x direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is positive x direction. Chalo. Now, change in position from t equal to 5 seconds to t equal to 10 seconds is negative. That means, what is the meaning? That means at time t equal to 10 seconds, the particle lies on negative x side of its position at t equal to 5 seconds. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
देखो, so therefore, what is negative x side? That is towards left. So therefore, at time t equal to 10 seconds, particle lies on the left of its position at t equal to 5 seconds. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So therefore, change in positions give you the final result. What has happened after the entire time duration? Where does the particle lie with reference to its position at one time instant is given by change in position. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So, chalo. What is the change in position from time t equal to t1 to time t equal to t2? That change in position, that change in position gives you where is the particle situated at time equal to t2 in comparison with time equal to t1. बीच में क्या हुआ? What is the path followed by the particle is immaterial. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
और एक बार ये कंक्लूजन में और एक बार ये पॉइंट में क्लियर करता हूं. देखो, change in position from t equal to 5 second to t equal to 10 second is negative. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
That means at time t equal to 10 seconds, the particle lies on the left hand side of its position when the time was 5 seconds. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
But it does not necessarily mean that during time t equal to 5 second to time t equal to 10 second, particle always lied on the left hand side of position at t equal to 5. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
देखो, बीच में पार्टिकल कहा भी जा सकता है. The particle has now moved towards right, then started coming back, and then it has finally occupied this position at t equal to 10 seconds. So at time t equal to 10 seconds, the particle is on left of its position during time t equal to 5 seconds. Doesn't mean that during 5 to 10 seconds it was always on the left. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I am very clear about this, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Now the other point that I want to make is, in first case, the distance traveled by the particle from t equal to 5 second to t equal to 8 second came exactly equal to the change in position. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
But in second case, change in position did not correspond to the distance traveled by the particle during that time interval. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And why did that happen? Because
Because of their positions.
no, because the particle changed the direction of motion
Direction. Yes.
between 5 to 10. समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
देखो, during 5 seconds to 8 seconds there was no change in direction of motion, therefore change in position did correspond, to be precise, modulus of change in position did correspond to distance traveled. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
But from t equal to 5 seconds to t equal to 10 seconds, there was a change of direction of motion at t equal to 8 seconds, and in that case the final result, that is change in position, did not correspond to the distance traveled by the particle from t equal to 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what is the quantity that characterizes whether the particle has changed the direction of motion or not in rectilinear motion? कौन सी क्वांटिटी है जो आप ऑब्जर्व करोगे कि जिससे समझ में आएगा कि पार्टिकल ने डायरेक्शन चेंज की है कि नहीं? बोलो.
Change in position.
No, not necessary. I will give you an counter example. Let us say this is the origin. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
At time t equal to 10 seconds, the particle is at this location. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And t equal to 5 seconds, and at time t equal to 10 seconds, particle is here. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Both the positions are positive. There is no way that you will understand the particle, whether the particle has changed the direction of motion from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
The particle may have gone like this and come back, or particle may have straight away traveled this distance. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So there is no way that you can judge whether the particle has changed the direction of motion during time t equal to 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Happy?
Yes, sir.
It may also have traveled like this. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So there is one change of direction, then another change of direction, and then it has reached this point. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So merely looking at the position, you will not be able to tell whether the particle has changed the direction of motion during the said period of observation or not. So क्या देखना पड़ेगा? बोलो. Velocity. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
See, velocity is always positive from t equal to 5 seconds to 8 seconds. But at 8 seconds, when it changes, reverses the direction of motion, velocity is ought to become negative. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, we will have to look for the points where velocity becomes zero. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Those may be the points where the particle may have changed the direction of motion. ऐसे हो सकता है कि particle is moving with certain velocity in positive x direction. The velocity becomes zero and it doesn't go on the other side. From zero it starts increasing again. ऐसे हो सकता है. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But if at all the particle has to reverse its velocity or its direction of motion, it must pass through a point where velocity is zero. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, velocity being equal to zero may correspond to a instant when the particle has reversed the direction of motion. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो अब जरा देखो अब क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. The bigger conclusion is this. If you have to find out distance traveled by the particle during time t equal to 5 seconds to t equal to 10 seconds. So first thing that you should do is you should check if the particle has approached zero velocity or achieved zero velocity somewhere during this interval. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Let us say the particle has assumed zero velocity at time t equal to 8 seconds and then the direction of motion has reversed in this case. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So how will you find out the total distance traveled by particle from t equal to 5 seconds to 10 seconds? For that, now split this time instant, time duration into two parts. T equal to 5 seconds to 8 seconds. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And 8 seconds to 10 seconds. So I am sure from t equal to 5 seconds to 8 seconds, the direction of motion has not changed. Similarly, from t equal to 8 seconds to t equal to 10 seconds, direction of motion is not changed. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
सो वेलोसिटी जीरो के सारे पॉइंट्स आइडेंटिफाई करने हैं, उतने टाइम इंटरवल्स में ब्रेक करना है ड्यूरेशन को. एंड देन एज आई सेड, इफ देयर इज नो चेंज ऑफ direction of motion, change in position corresponds to the distance traveled. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, if I were asked to find out the total distance traveled by the particle from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, what I am simply going to do is change in position from 8 second to 5 second to 8 second. At 8 second, the velocity becomes zero. And then plus modulus of change in position from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are the 3 points that I wanted to make. I hope I have elaborately sketched the picture. जब आप problem solve करेंगे और ज़्यादा clear हो जाएगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So have we understood what is position, what is change in position, and what is distance traveled? How are they related? And how
Yes, sir.
changing the reversal of direction of motion plays an important role in deriving the relationship between change in position and distance traveled. Have we understood all this?
Yes, sir.
And have we understood the sign convention for position in relative motion, in
Yes, sir.
rectilinear motion? Yes. Chalo. So now let us venture to the next quantity, and that is velocity. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how do you define velocity? Tell me.
Change in position upon time.
Yes. Thanks a lot. You said that. It is not change in distance. What we have to say is it is change in position. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Change in position divided by change in time. That is how we define the velocity. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, in definition of velocity, we have two cases. One is instantaneous velocity and another is average velocity. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now what is instantaneous velocity? So let us say I have to find out the velocity of a particle at time. No, I will first give you the practical example, then you will understand this. Let us say you have left the college. You have left for the college at time t equal to t1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And you have reached the college at time instant t equal to t2. Happy?
Yes, sir.
The distance that you need to travel in order to reach the college, let us say it is 5 kilometers. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Or I will call that distance as d. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so what is your velocity during this time interval? Tell me. So how much, with what speed did you go to the college?
Uh, D upon T minus T1.
T upon T2 minus T1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But this is average speed. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because it is not necessary that during this time interval T1 to T2 you would have traveled with the same velocity. ऐसे नहीं हो सकता. You may stop somewhere to buy something. Are you with me? When there is a signal, you will have to stop.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
When there is an empty road, you may have assumed the speed of 90 kmph and so on and so forth. समझ में आ रहा है? So that means the velocity was never constant
Yes,
during
sir.
time interval T1 to T2. But for our understanding, we have calculated an average speed or average velocity. Do you agree with me? Are you with me? Hello,
Yes, sir.
Shriram, are you
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there some problem with my audio?
Sir, am I audible?
Is there some problem with my audio?
No, sir.
You are audible. You are audible. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So now let us define systematically what do we mean by average velocity and instantaneous velocity. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So now I will define instantaneous velocity. V instantaneous. It is a vector quantity, no doubt. It is dr bar by dt. Do you agree with me? Rate of change of position vector with reference to time. Are
Yes.
you there? Acha, is
Yes,
Utkarsh
sir.
there? Sriram, you can mute. Utkarsh can unmute. So instantaneous velocity, we define it as dr bar by dt. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Dr bar by dt means change in position vector per unit time is defined as this instantaneous velocity. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So let us say we are considering a motion of a particle in xy plane, and during time instant t equal to t1 and time instant t equal to t2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This was r bar at time t equal to t1 and this is the r bar at time t equal to t2. Happy? So what is dr bar? Tell me. Dr bar is r bar at time t equal to t2. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Minus r bar at time t equal to t1. समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
And this divided by t2 minus t1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But when I say it is instantaneous velocity, I have to say that t2 minus t1, which is delta t, is sufficiently small. So by the definition of derivative and by the physical definition, what I mean is I am taking limit as t2 minus t1 approaches to 0. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is what we mean by instantaneous velocity. And if I consider only this quantity where t2 minus t1 is not tending to 0. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Not tending to 0. Then that becomes the average velocity. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So in the process, I have defined what is instantaneous velocity and what is average velocity. Now, as far as the rectilinear motion is concerned, so let us say a particle is exhibiting rectilinear motion about x-axis. This is the origin. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
When do we say that the velocity is positive? Tell me.
So when it's moving towards positive x direction.
Correct. So let us say at time t equal to t1, the particle has assumed the position x equal to x1. And at time t equal to t2, the particle has assumed the position x is equal to x2. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So how do we define instantaneous velocity in this case? So instantaneous velocity will be defined as x2 minus x1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Divided by t2 minus t1 in the limit as t1 minus t2 t2 minus t1 tends to 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Limit t2 minus t1 tends to 0. So can I write it as dx by dt?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So it is dx by dt. Now, Vedant, let us go ahead. Now, what is average velocity? Average velocity in this case will be x2 minus x1 upon t2 minus t1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Where t2 minus t1 does not approach 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And this is average velocity during time interval t2 to t1. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have defined average velocity, instantaneous velocity. When is velocity positive?
When it's
When it is towards positive x. Happy?
yes, sir.
So whenever x2 is going to be greater than x1, at that time the velocity is going to be positive. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me, is it absolutely required that when velocity is positive, then the position also will be positive? Is it required?
Sir, can you please repeat?
Yes. Now I'm asking a question. If velocity is positive, does it mean that position also is positive?
Sir, I was not able to hear you, sir. It was your voice was not audible.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Uh, The question I'm asking is this. If the velocity is positive, is it mandatory that the position also should be positive?
No, sir.
No. Because I will give you an counter example. देखो यहाँ पे. This is the origin. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
At time t equal to 5 seconds. Time t equal to 5 seconds. The position of the particle was here. So therefore, let us say x5 is minus 100. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And at time t equal to 10 seconds, the position of particle is this, which is x10 equal to minus 50. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So they tell me what is the velocity. Velocity is x2 minus x1. So it is x10 minus x5 divided by 10 minus 5, average velocity. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And that is how much? x10 is
100
minus 50
minus 50
minus of minus 100
minus 100.
divided by 10 minus 5. So it is positive. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So how much is that?
So it's 10.
10 meter per second. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
10 meter per second. And it is positive. So it is absolutely, there is no connection between the positive position and positive velocity. Particle can occupy positive or negative position and still possess positive or negative velocity. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so absolutely no connection between positive velocity and positive position. That's what I wanted to specify. Now we have to go to understand what do we mean by acceleration. It's sign convention like velocity. What is instantaneous and average acceleration? That this understanding we will do in tomorrow's class. But the first question, the last question that I want to ask in today's class is, what do you understand by time t equal to 0? Yes, tell me. In the problems of dynamics, what is time t equal to 0?
Initial
Yes, Veda.
position.
No, it is time. So how can it be position?
So at time t equal to 0,
What is time t equal to 0?
so the velocity is equal to 0 and other things that is related to time are equal to 0.
And why do you think so?
Sir, particle is at rest.
Particle is at rest. And why do you think so? Anyone else? So there is a misconception in all the problems that we solve. अच्छा किसी का तो बैकग्राउंड नॉइज आ रहा है सो अपार्ट फ्रॉम वेदांत आई एक्सेप्ट आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू स्विच ऑफ योर माइक्रोफोन्स चलो कहाँ से आ रहा है आवाज okay so there is general misconception that at t equal to 0 the motion commences or at t equal to 0 particle is at rest and then the motion commences. That is not the case, because if that would have been the case, then we will not be able to study the motion of planets, because when the motion did start, at that time we were not there. Are you with me, Vedant?
Yes, sir.
So therefore t equal to 0 does not mean the time when the motion began. No, t equal to 0 का मतलब है the time when observer started observing the motion. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Time when observer started observing the motion. Is t equal to 0. So the motion would have been there before t equal to 0, or it may have started at t equal to 0, or it will start at t equal to 5 seconds. It may start after t equal to 0. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore t equal to 0 corresponds to time when observer started observing the motion. All the motion parameters before t equal to 0 are not known to the observer. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And all the parameters of the motion after time t equal to 0 till the period of observation are known to the observer.
Yes, sir.
So please do not correlate t equal to 0 with the commencement of motion. No, it is the time when observer started observing the motion. So with this, I think we will close for today. I will stop recording and I will